From the get-go, it's just bollocks, isn't it? This shit, man. It's giving me a right fucking headache. So I've seen this nonsense flying around the internet for quite a while now, and apparently there are people in the world that breathe our oxygen that believe the earth is flat. Yeah. Genuinely. Now, I'd seen many a meme and heard the odd conversation on several different podcasts about this wild idea, but I'd always dismissed it without giving it a second thought. I mean, surely it was all bollocks, right? But now the war on ignorance has begun, I thought I'd give this harebrained conspiracy theory a chance to prove itself, and a chance to change my entire worldview. I wanted to clear up my ignorance towards this subject, and see if a flat earth model made any sense at all. And fuck my pert little anus, what a waste of a Monday morning that was. Obviously, this idea, this conspiracy, this symptom of madness holds no water whatsoever. In fact, upon researching it, I came to realise it was crazier than anything I thought it could be. But still, I gave it a chance to prove me wrong. But instead of proving me wrong, what I found actually astonished me with its blatant absent-mindedness. So I thought my best place to begin with this migraine-inducing idiocy would be with the biggest proponents of a flat earth theory and the originator of the theory itself, the Flat Earth Society. The DNA of the Flat Earth Society can be traced back to the 19th century, springing to life on the back of Samuel Rowbotham. Rowbotham was an advocate of the Flat Earth theory, claiming to have conducted experiments that proved that the Earth was indeed flat. In 1849, he published his findings from these experiments in a pamphlet called Zetetic Astronomy. Zetetic Astronomy? Zetetic. 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 Fucking idiot, coming up with nonsense already. Zetetic Astronomy, a publication that would later come to found the Universal Zetetic Society. This Universal Zetetic Society would later come to inspire Samuel Shenton, a man who in 1954 founded the International Flat Earth Research Society. In modern times, this society simply came to be known as the Flat Earth Society, which up until the last couple of years had a small but dedicated following. The dawn of the internet and of the integration of social media into our daily lives has increased this Flat Earth Society's following, with more and more people subscribing to the Flat Earth model and actively defending it. With the Flat Earth Society being the original propagator of this theory, I assumed them to be the authority on the matter, and so took to their website to garner some more information about this fascinating idea. From there, I find myself coming across the Flat Earth Society wiki page, a detailed resource which pretty much answered every question I had about Flat Earth theory. From what is now my favourite website ever, I have picked 5 facts that aren't actually facts at all, and more often than not fall apart under the slightest of critical thinking. But before I get into all of that, I have to give you a foundation knowledge in what the Flat Earth theory thinks that our planet looks like. And I've done a drawing. So, this is the traditional model. The traditional model states that the Earth is a globe, spins on its axis, and it orbits the sun. But the Flat Earth theory believes this to be bollocks. Bollocks. The Flat Earth model proposes the Earth is a flat disc, like this, where the sun orbits the Earth, the flat Earth. Apparently the sun is 32 miles in diameter and 3,000 miles away from the Earth. The North Pole is located in the centre of this flat disc, whilst the South Pole goes around the outer edge. An outer edge that is, it's surrounded by an ice wall. An ice wall because Game of Thrones? I don't know. That's what they said. So that's what it looks like. Now you've got the foundation to this absolute craziness. Let me layer on top of that my 5 favourite facts from the Flat Earth Society's wiki page. Facts that apparently support their argument for a flat Earth. So, according to the Flat Earth Society, gravity doesn't exist. Well, at least not in the way we understand it anyway. Instead of the traditional model, flat earthers point towards something called universal acceleration in order to explain this undeniable force. Because obviously, like, gravity exists, things drop. Universal acceleration theory postulates that this gravitational force we live within is caused by a consistent acceleration of the Earth, an acceleration which in turn keeps everything grounded. The Flat Earth Society used the example of a car accelerating to illustrate this notion, comparing the sensation of being pressed into a seat when a car accelerates to explain how gravity works in this way. And what about the fuel for this unending acceleration? Like, where does this energy come from to push this massive, huge flat disk through space? Well, dark energy, a convenient, universal unknown that the Flat Earth Society just seems to have latched upon. There is no research, there is no theory, there is no experimentation, there is nothing to support this idea. It is complete speculation and conjecture. A theme that you will no doubt notice as I go through the rest of these facts. The current understanding of the traditional model of gravity is extensively researched, underpinned by not just theoretical evidence, but experimental evidence as well. Isaac Newton was the first to understand how this force affects objects within our universe, whilst Albert Einstein was the first to come along and ponder its causation and identify where exactly this force of nature comes from. Our very understanding of gravity in this manner has allowed us to launch rockets into space, and even utilise the gravitational pull of the planets in space navigation. All of this, every single bit of it, is dismissed by the Flat Earth Society. To explain the issue of the Earth's magnetic field and the difficulty it faces in being a disk shape, the Flat Earth Society compare the magnetic field of a flat Earth to a ring magnet, call it a disk shape, and then they completely fuck up. Like, they kind of dismantle their own argument here. While it's true that unipolar magnets can't exist, this isn't a problem for the flat Earth. This is because ring magnets, which are shaped like, you guessed it, dicks, a flat disk, are capable of having radial magnetization. In a radial magnet, one magnetic pole is at the centre and the other is at all points on the edge of the magnet. And whilst they are correct about these kinds of radial magnets, what they seem to be completely glossing over here is the fact that these kind of magnets have to be shaped in a ring, with a fucking hole through the middle of them. Last I checked, there wasn't a hole in the middle of this flat earth theory. Was there? Come on, son. It's not a fucking party ring, is it? According to the Flat Earth theory itself and the Flat Earth Society, this flat Earth is disc-shaped, and disc-shaped magnets have their magnetic poles on opposite ends, not from the centre and on the outer edge. That only occurs in ring magnets. Once again, the Flat Earth Society has chosen conjecture, speculation, and the cherry-picking of some fact to support their ideas. And all it took me to realise that they were chatting complete bollocks on this topic was to do a quick 15-minute Google search. Now this one is amazing, you're gonna love this one. So the Flat Earth Society puts the burden of proving a flat Earth on everyone who opposes them. Apparently we are the ones making the audacious claims, and as such it is up to us to prove that people have been into space, that the Earth is a globe, and all the current models are accurate. You're the one claiming that NASA can send men to the moon, robots to Mars, and spaceships into the solar system. We're not claiming those things. Mate, the proof is right here. It's fucking endless. This is just books I've got. But none of that research is accepted because it does not fit their model. Interestingly, the Flat Earth Society also seem to be missing the fact that they too are making an audacious claim. They are stating that the Earth is flat. Therefore, it is up to them to prove that fact with experimentation and with evidence, exactly like these guys did. Yet again, this is another perfect example of the Flat Earth Society finding a wonderfully acceptable philosophical standpoint in the burden of proof and warping it to fit their worldview. They view it from an insular, narrow-minded angle, dismissing without a second thought an idea that might challenge them. So, believe it or not, there is actual evidence that does prove the Earth is flat. The Bedford Level experiment is the Holy Grail, referred to time and time again throughout the Flat Earth Society's website. This experiment was the birth of the modern flat Earth theory, and originated with the 19th century writer Samuel Rowbotham, the guy that I mentioned earlier who all but founded this entire movement. This experiment took place on a stretch of water in Bedford that is 6 miles long and arrow straight. Rowbotham presumed that if the Earth were indeed curved, he'd be able to see the mast of a boat sailing down this very stream drop some discernible degree due to the curvature of the Earth. He conducted this experiment and found that the mast did not drop as he expected, thus disproving the curvature of the Earth and proving a flat Earth. Rowbotham, however, did not take into consideration a phenomenon called atmospheric refraction, an effect that causes mirages and all manner of optical illusions, like the ripples you sometimes see on a long stretch of road. This refraction provided the illusion that the mast on the boat was higher than it actually was. A trained surveyor by the name of Alfred Russel Wallace took into account Robotham's errors, adjusted his experiment to account for atmospheric refraction, and produced results of a higher validity that did indeed prove the curvature of the Earth. These experiments were done in the mid-19th century. There are no modern experiments, nor theories, nor mathematical explanations that conclusively point toward a flat Earth. This experiment, this one that was proven incorrect, is the only one that is consistently referenced by the Flat Earth Society. And finally, to top it all off, according to the Flat Earth Society, a spherical Earth and all of the proof that lies behind it is either wrong or an elaborate lie. So that would mean that all 219 manned NASA missions were faked, that every single scientific study that points towards a spherical Earth is wrong, shipping lanes are bollocks, flight paths aren't real, the photographs of the Earth from space are all fake, and the astronauts in the International Space Station are being filmed from a studio. No, seriously, that is what they think. So apparently we've all been lied to, and every single one of those people involved in every single one of those fields I just mentioned is in on it. Not one person fucked up and revealed the secret. And why do the Flat Earth Society believe this? Well, there is one very simple reason for this, one very simple idea that serves as the foundation for this entire theory. Because they cannot perceive it with their senses. Because they can't see it. Yeah. Because they can't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. They believe it's not real. Yes, this whole Flat Earth notion is based upon an approach that says if I can't sense it, then it is not real. This idea stems from that zetetic approach that I mentioned earlier, the one that was founded by Robotham and states only personal acquired facts are permissible. By that logic then, I believe that the United States of America doesn't exist, because I haven't personally acquired fact of it myself by physically going there. The Dodge Challenger SRT Demon isn't real either, because I haven't seen one, and all the photographs, well, they must be faked. And Theresa May doesn't exist either. I believe the Prime Minister of our great country isn't real, because I haven't fucking met her. Because all of that is perfectly fucking reasonable, isn't it? Idiots. So this Flat Earth theory, well, it's fucking exhausting. The arguments, which are plentiful and just as mind-boggling as the ones I have covered, there are loads of them that are just like this, are weak. They are like wet cardboard. They fall apart under even the slightest bit of scrutiny. All you have to do is apply logic, reason, and a little bit of scientific understanding to completely dismantle them. The Flat Earth Society itself is full of contradictions too, actively dismissing any scientific evidence by assuming it to be wrong or falsified, and yet falling back on that evidence when it fits their model. They literally cherry-pick factoids from certain ideas in science when it backs up their crackpot theories. For instance, they outright dismiss Einstein's theory of gravity, replacing it with their own model. But they happily embrace his theory of special relativity when it happily explains away the problems they face with their universal acceleration theory. Ultimately, their position is fixed, and no amount of evidence nor reasoning will budge them. Quite hilariously, they call science dogmatic, blind and reductive. And yet they're the ones with the evidence staring directly in their face who will not accept that proof, nor change their stance. And worryingly, this idea is beginning to gain more traction. More and more people are buying into the Flat Earth theory, populating the internet with this ignorance and this disgusting scientific illiteracy, shouting from the rooftops of social media with this backward, archaic way of thinking. A way of thinking that is toxic and has no place in modern society. Quite frankly, the Flat Earth Society and its proponents should be ashamed of itself for circulating such nonsense without a single iota of scientific inquiry. So, what do you make of the Flat Earth theory? It's fucking exhausting, right? Or, you know what, do you actually believe it? Do you think you have something to show me that will convince me? Come change my mind. Come let me know down in the comments below or over on Twitter at DarylDoes. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter and on Facebook, you'll get all the updates there. And until next time, my friends, keep on waging that war on ignorance. But the Earth's still fucking round, yeah? Don't be a dick.